I'm the Comic Weekly Man, the jolly Comic Weekly Man, and I'm here to read the funnies to you happy boys and honeys. Yes, boys and girls, it's Comic Weekly time, and here I come right into your house to bring a little fun and happiness. Right out of the pages of Puck the Comic Weekly, straight into your living room, your friend, the Comic Weekly Man, the jolly Comic Weekly Man. Hello, 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 hello.
Hello, 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 hello.
Little Miss Honey, how are you today?
Oh, I'm just fine. How are you?
If I felt any better, I couldn't stand it.
Oh, that makes me very happy.
Why?
Oh, I was afraid you might have a cold or something and you wouldn't be able to read the funny.
Oh, no, I haven't a cold or anything. I've been wondering, though, how are you getting along in school?
Oh, wonderfully. And I can spell very well.
You can?
Yes.
Can you spell big words?
Oh, yes.
Spell at.
A-T. That's a small word. Ask me to spell a big word like Tennessee.
All right, spell Tennessee.
1 a C, 2 a C, 3 a C, 4 a C, 5 a C, 6 a C, 7 a C, 8 a C, 9 a C, Tennessee.
That's just wonderful.
Now, will you please read me the funny?
Puck the Comic Weekly?
Yes.
Very well, I will in just a moment. But before I do, let's listen to this nice man. Now, here we go with Puck the Comic Weekly. And on the first page, Hopalong Cassidy.
Magic words for the music, please.
Very well, my lady. 6 guns blazing as he thunders along. Give us music for Hopalong. The cavalry, taking Black John back to Denver to be tried for his crimes, were attacked by Indians. They holed in at a cabin at a stage stop. Hoppy had slipped away for reinforcements, and today arrives with a large body of horsemen. They rein up beside the smoking cabinet and look at the dead bodies of the soldiers and the few Indians remaining there. The marshal says, "Well, looks like we got here too late." Hoppy exclaims, "I don't believe it. I won't believe it. Lucky, California, Major Haynes, where are you?" A scout walks up and says, "Sioux, judging by the dead uns who wiped out the defenders and then made off with their horses." Hoppy answers, "Well, if that's true, I've just lost 2 of the best friends a man ever had." And then he grits his teeth firmly and says, "I'll never rest until I've made Iron Claw and his renegades pay for this." The marshal answers, "Well, it's going to be tough, Cassidy. Redskins leave no trail." Hoppy walks off replying, "Well, their horses do." The marshal announces, "We'll split into 2 parties and search the area." Last picture, second row. Hoppy, who has reached the edge of the clearing, calls, "Hey, look, Marshal. Fresh tracks." "Yeah. Seemed to cross that ridge toward Tumbleweed Creek. Careful, men. Remember, them Indians are armed with smuggled guns." Their search takes them along the river, first picture, bottom row. Suddenly, the marshal holds up his hand. The men stop. The marshal says, "Here, wait. Someone's in the water behind that brush." But Hoppy doesn't wait. He leaps from his horse and dives into the river. And last picture comes up with his arms around 2 men, Lucky and California. Lucky exclaims, "Hey, Hoppy, we hid out thinking we heard the Indians coming back. Are we glad to see you?" California spurts water like a whale. And as Hoppy smiles, he says, "Yeah, you're darn shooting. I couldn't have held my breath for another second."
Oh, I'm glad that Lucky in California is safe. I just felt sure that they couldn't have been killed by the Indians. They're too smart.
Yes, and we'll find out next week whether Hoppy and the marshal and the other men continue in their search for the Indians and vengeance.
Well, I hope they find the major and they just fix those Indians.
Well, we'll find out next week. Now?
Oh, I know it's time for Prince Val now because he's always on page 3, so let's turn over the page.
Well, you seem to be so sure of yourself, we won't waste a second.
All right. See? I'm right. Here he is on page 3.
And you're absolutely right.
And Val is home now, safe with his family, and he's found that little Prince Iron has grown awfully big and that he has 2 new baby twins, and my goodness, was he surprised.
Yes, so now let's look in on this happy family again.
Yes, I'm anxious to see those twin babies.
All right, here we go with Prince Valiant and the days of King Arthur. Hecket, Brecket, Grey Malkin, and Quince. Music romantic for a fair, fair prince. had quite a scare when little Prince Arn in his helmet and sword and shield wandered off and was lost and nearly attacked by a wolf. But Val saved Arn and has brought him home safely. And today, Val, Alita, and their servants and children are sitting on the lawn in the sun, enjoying the quiet of home life. When last picture top row, there's a shout. Hello! Val looks up and sees, coming from the coast, Arf. No longer is he the clumsy boy playing at being a knight hero, but a keen young lad of great ability. And with him comes Gaheris, Sir Gawain's brother. Gaheris has come to discuss the terms of peaceful trade with King Agwar, Val's father. And long hours they spend with King Agwar, until at last, first picture, second row, they arrive in an agreement for peaceful trade between Thule and Orkney. Peace and prosperity, it is hoped, will bring an end to raiding and piracy. Meanwhile, last picture, second row, far out at sea, the ship of Sir Dulac sails the new trade route to Thule. This is the same Sir Dulac who had shared Val's ship on his return from Rome. And here, too, is his pretty daughter who had fallen in love with Arf. She sits on the deck listening as her lady companion reads over and over the letters Arf had sent her. And at each reading, her heart beats faster. And then, farther off at sea, appears another ship. It is Boltar, the Sea King, second picture bottom row, surging homeward from a plundering raid. He sees the victim, and his ship gives chase. In a short time, his ship overtakes the heavier bark of Sir Dulac. Hey! Board, ship! The hardy Northmen very quickly subdue the sailors on board Sir Dulac's ship, and Sir Dulac and his pretty daughter become Boltar's prisoners.
I remember him. He was Val's friend.
Yes, and I think that Val will tell Boltar that a new peace treaty has been signed and that this is one time he can't keep his plunder.
And Arf will see his girl again.
Yes, I'm sure he will.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Oh, it certainly will be. Well, now I think it's time for Flash Gordon.
Oh, and I'm anxious to read that.
Very well, let's go over to the very last page of the first section. And that's where Flash Gordon is today.
And you remember last week, Flash was captured by the Martians.
Yes, he was in the principal Martian city. Captive of Menta, queen of the Martians.
Yes, and that night when Flash went to bed, the queen sent some guards to Flash's room to try to put a helmet on his head when he was asleep, and that helmet would make a slave out of Flash.
Not only that, but the helmet would make Flash tell every thought he had to Menta, and she'd find out all the secrets about the Earth, and would be able to make war on the Earth easier.
But Flash woke up just in time and had a fight. I wonder who won.
Well, let's read down and find out. Here we go with Flash Gordon. Rig-a-dig-a-doon-doon, Saskramatash. Let's have music for Heroic Flash. Flash rises from his bed and with a quick left surprises the guard. And in another second, Flash is on his feet. Very quickly knocks the guard out. As he kneels over the unconscious guard, looking at the slave helmet, which would have made him unable to refuse Queen Menta's every order, he hears behind him something. He whirls. He's stunned to see his co-pilot, Link, coming at him, wearing a slave helmet. Knowing that Link is under orders of his Martian masters, Flash, against his will, is forced to knock Link out. And then, quickly, Flash snatches a slave helmet off Link's head. Last picture top row. He rips out the mechanism. By now, Dale, who has heard the struggle, has joined them. She quickly brings Link to. Link asks in a daze, "Hey, what happened? I dreamed I was slave of Queen Menta." Flash answers tensely as he rips out the mechanism of the guard's helmet. "You were. But that's over now. Now, come on, we got work to do." Wearing slave helmets from which the mechanism has been removed, the Earth people secure weapons by pretending to be acting under orders from Queen Menta. And then once they have the weapons, they put the helmets on their heads and gain entrance, first picture bottom row, to the Queen's quarters. The Queen whirls around in surprise. Flash tells Menta, "You see, slave helmets have no effect on Earthmen. You're our prisoner." Following through on his bold ruse, Flash, with Queen Menta under guard, commandeers a sandcar. The guards, fooled by the slave helmets, are completely unaware that their queen is a captive of the Earth people. And last picture, The sand car roars across the Martian desert, headed for the rocket port and escape.
Oh, if Flash gets to his ship safely with the Queen as his prisoner, well, then those Martians will just have to do what he ordered.
Well, let's hope it works out that way. We'll find out if it does next week.
And now I know whose turn it is.
Whose?
Blondie and Dagwood. And here they are on the first page of the second section.
And we won't waste a second. Here we go with Dagwood and Blondie. Ramafoo, Ramafum, Zim Zam Zombie. Conjure me music for Dagwood and Blondie. Dagwood, home for the day, says to Blondie,
Blondie, I'm in just the mood for one of your wonderful upside-down pineapple cakes.
Blondie tells him she'd baked the cake, but there's not an egg in the house.
Oh, don't worry. I'll go next door and borrow one from the Woodleys.
And over to the Woodleys he goes. Woodley opens the door. Last picture, top row, Dagwood says,
Say, Herb, may I borrow...
Why, Dagwood, you're just the man I want to see. Come on in. Herb whisks Dagwood inside the house and pushes a cabinet onto him.
Hey!
And Herb says, first picture, next row, my wife's having a furniture-moving spree, and I need help. Dagwood moves the cabinet from the dining room to the living room. And a chair from the living room to the dining room. And this continues until all the furniture has been moved around. Last picture, second row, Herb says,
Thanks, Dagwood. You're a pal. Here's your egg. Now, don't forget to return it.
And out the door Dagwood goes, all worn out. First picture, third row, Dagwood comes in the house carrying his egg. Blondie tells him that the eggman came while he was next door, and now she has all the eggs she needs. Dagwood says sourly,
Well, I'll return his egg. I don't want to be obligated to that guy.
And back to Herb's house he goes. Herb opens the door, and Dagwood says,
Here's your egg.
Herb jerks him in.
Thanks, Dagwood. Come in. I need you again.
And Herb pushes the piano over onto Dagwood.
Hey!
And he says, last picture, third row.
Tootsie decided she liked the furniture the way it was. Now we'll have to move it all back.
And the moving begins all over again. Finally, everything is back in place, and Dagwood goes home once more. He comes in the house, first picture, bottom row. Slams the door. The house nearly falls down, and he screeches,
I never was so mad in all my life!
Blondie dashes into the kitchen, opens the oven door, pulls out the cake, and tells Dagwood he ruined the cake by slamming the door. Dagwood claps his hand to his forehead, goes into the living room, and drops on the sofa exhausted. Last picture, Blondie stands over him and says,
How can you be so tired today? All you did was borrow one little egg.
If she only knew.
Yes, if she only knew. Sofas are heavy.
Yes, so are pianos.
Yes. Well, now look, underneath Dagwood and Blondie, there's Roy Rogers.
Oh, will you please read that?
Very well, I'll read that in just a minute. But first, here's that nice man with something interesting to say. Now, here we go again with Puck the Comic Weekly. And on the bottom of the first page of the second section, Roy Rogers, King of the Cowboys.
Magic words for the music, please.
Very well, my lady. Hi-yip-hi-yo. Now, here we go with Roy and Trigger. Hi-yip-hi-yo. The Cattleman's Consul and his leader, Norton, have run a man named Blot Kramer out of the country and taken over his ranch, claiming that he's a cattle rustler. Riding to the end of Kramer's ranch to investigate this, Roy and Jack Spratt, the deputy sheriff, found a grub shack. They dismounted and walked toward it. Suddenly, the ground gave way beneath their feet.
Hey, look out! Look out, Jack! Look out!
They tumbled to a room underground. Jack looks around and says,
Hey, looks like mine, Roy. Never heard of nothing like this in Blot Kramer's land before.
Suddenly, Roy exclaims, Listen, gunshots. That must be Norton and Carp Mallory shooting at somebody. Meanwhile, outside the mine, Blot Kramer comes out of the shack. running and firing his gun at Norton and Mallory, who have ridden up.